Yes, ma'am. I saw that.
You saw that, and just been discussing it, and also discussing the response of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, which he calls this a deplorable act, to be meddling in other people's elections. What are
Hmm.
your thoughts on it, sir?
Well, it spells disaster for CARICOM, um, in the fact that in the midst of what should be free and fair elections, we realize that our Prime Minister, um, Miss Motley, that she has been actively involved in uh, discrediting and degrading the democratic process. So Barbadians have to understand that if she's going to do this in St. Vincent, then by now we should understand what she has been doing with our elections. Okay, so it is very very clear that our prime minister is involved in election rigging, and so for us to sit here in this country and not send a very clear message, we depend on other leaders around the region, and Mr. Rubio to respond. Uh, the Barbadian public must respond to Mia Motley, and it is critical right now that we let her know that we've caught on to her shenanigans. This is evil. It is deadly. It is destructive. It is uh, a serious compromise on our democratic process. And Barbados going into the next upcoming general election, it tells us that Mayor Motley's people are already on the ground making sure that they win the next election. So our elections will not be free and they will not be fair. As long as Mayor Motley is the leader of the Barbados Labour Party, that will be the case. And so we have our work to do here on the ground as well too, because if you can put together a group of 5 persons and send them into another country to sway elections in favor of the person that you want to work with, it spells danger. And I want to say here that, and I've said it before on the show, all of these prime ministers that are in power right now, they're going to do everything within their means to make sure that they win the government. Because for them, it is no longer a matter of democracy. Many of them have this idea that they are now some great king or queen reborn. So it is no longer about the vote of the people. It is about building their empire and creating their own kingdom. I remember Mr. Arthur when he spoke very candidly about and openly about his interaction with Miss Motley. He mentioned that Miss Motley was listening to a particular individual, and that individual convinced Mia Motley that she had a divine right to rule Barbados. And this is very, very dangerous because it is no longer about the vote of the people. It is make sure you keep Mia Motley in power. Make sure that we keep Ralph Gonzalez in power. Make sure that we keep Mr. Scarrett in power. Make sure that we keep, you know, Mr. Brown in power. Make sure that all of these individuals who were there during COVID, who've lied to their nations, who've destroyed their own nations, they're now seeking to build this type of dystopic regime within the Caribbean region, and the people of the Caribbean must begin to stop what is happening. I'm thankful that Prime Minister Kamala has stood up against that type of activity. And the people of Barbados, we have to say that it is wrong. And I don't know how the Barbados Labour Party can feel tonight knowing that they are actively as a party. I don't know how individuals like Colin Jordan, who's an elder in the church, can actually support and continue to be a part of a party like this when his own people are interfering with due democratic and electoral process in a neighboring and a sister Caribbean country. I do not know how the Barbados Labour Party can be in supporters and supporters. Are we there? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
very
Yes.
Okay.
much.
All right. Now, I just want to say a couple of things here very, very quickly. Um, and I've done some studying. We have something called the electromagnetic spectrum, which is what we know as the rainbow or the area of visible light. The rainbow goes from red to blue, and red is the lowest frequency on the rainbow. What do you think is happening? Look at all of these red Caribbean islands that are under red parties. Look at the condition that these countries are in under these red parties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, uh, look at the fact that Miss Motley just brought the king of the Ashanti tribe here to Barbados to show to that was a message to individuals in Barbados who are a part of that underworld. That was a message to say, look who I have behind me. Okay, because you come to a country, you want to meet with the president. You don't want to be meeting with no prime minister. You want the prime minister is invited to the dinner that you're having with the president. Okay, but the reality is, again, is always a show of power. Okay, and this, even in this um flyer that you have here, it's a show of power. Okay, look who I have backing me. Okay, it's this redness, this bloodness, this bloodshed over and over and over again. And one of the things that we have to come to a realization is that these subliminal messages that are being sent to the public here in Barbados by Miss Motley and by this administration that has been so far consistently over and over and over again lying to the people of Barbados, disrespecting the people of Barbados. It is time for the people and even those individuals who call themselves supporters of the Barbados Labour Party. It's time for them to wake up and realize that they themselves are being fooled by the very person that they think is a great leader. I do not consider Miss Motley my prime minister. I never will. Okay, and I have my reasons for that. Okay, and I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm not gonna disrespect her. As long as she doesn't disrespect me, I'm not gonna disrespect her. But I make it abundantly clear. Okay, Miss Motley is not my prime minister. I understand the type of prime minister that I know is necessary for Barbados, and Miss Motley is not it. Okay, I've been shown exactly what she represents as a leader here in Barbados, and this country is not going to go anywhere great under the leadership of Mayor Moore Motley. I just want to make that abundantly clear. So all of these leaders in the Caribbean, I said this before on the show, Madam Weeks, I told you that all of them have to hold on to power in their countries. The day that they lose power in their countries, they're going to be picked up. And they know that their lives are in danger. And the danger that their lives are in is based on COVID, and it is based on a lot of agreements that they have made during COVID that their countries are unaware of. Barbados itself, when we had this whole blow up of the whole LGBTQ stuff that was going on here in our nation, all of these agendas and conventions that they signed on to, they know they have to remain in power, which is why they're supporting each other. And this is why Miss Motley is making sure that she supports those leaders that she believes will help her further her agenda and further her place, not only on the regional scene, but also on the international scene. So there's something more sinister going on with this whole idea of her campaigning all this labor movement. Listen, the Lord sent Moses to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt because they were under hard labor. Okay, so all this talk about labor movement is just more hardship, more poverty, and this is why we have to do what we have to do as a nation to rise up now and send a very clear message to Miss Motley: stay home, stay out of the political system of our other neighboring uh, Caribbean brothers and sisters. You stay out of their elective politics. You keep yourself home. You got so much in Barbados to deal with. You stay here and get your job done instead of jet setting all over the place, looking as though that you are some amazing international figure. Barbados is weaning because of the lack of very strong leadership. Just because you can talk pretty and borrow a lot of money, it doesn't make you a great leader.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
can you hear me?
yes,
Okay,
go ahead, Apostle.
I
Can you
want to.
talk a little bit about the Ashanti thing as well while I set up
Okay,
the Go ahead.
let me share this about the Ashanti King. Okay, and this goes back to what I said earlier about Miss Motley setting up a kingdom, because this is no longer about democracy. As far as in Miss Motley's head, democracy is dead. Now, if you go ahead and correspond the burial of the bones or whatever sacred soil or whatever she said it was in Ghana, okay, you will see that those times correspond. Okay, now in the Bible we have something called prophetic time. Prophetic time is 2.5 years, and if you double 2.5 years, you get 7. You go from 2018 when they won the election, 2018 to 2025. That's 7 years, which means that um, whatever covenant she made when she took the remains to Ghana, the covenant ended. Now she could not go back to Ghana because she knew of the backlash that came from what she did, going over there with this whole the circle being completed and all of these different things that she spoke about when they buried our flag over there in Ghana. So she couldn't do that again. So the easiest thing to do was to bring Ghana to Barbados. I can bet you that while Barbadians were sleeping, they were in that Newton burial ground. I can bet you that. Okay, because this time you couldn't go to Ghana, so you brought Ghana to Barbados. Okay, right after that, you had this huge torrential downpour. Fortunately, the loss of one life, and it was almost as though the Lord was saying, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not doing this. I'm not letting this stand. I'm going to cleanse this nation. Whatever they did while they were here, the Lord says, I'm cleansing the nation of that." Okay, and we had this flooding that literally the Met Office knew nothing about it. The government knew nothing about it. I mean, nobody expected what we saw in Barbados, which we never saw happen, and it happened right on the heels of the king and all of his folk coming to Barbados and then leaving Barbados. So it was almost like the Lord said, "No, I'm not allowing this covenant to stand." Okay, which she understands, and they know the people who are into this kind of darkness, they know what that flooding meant. It's just that most Barbadians do not know what it means. So Barbados has been cleansed of whatever Miss Motley has done, whatever covenant she's made, whatever agreement she's made, whatever blood tie, blood covenant she's made. The Lord cleansed Barbados of it. She is in danger right now. She is afraid because of what happened afterwards, which is one of the reasons why she left the island so quickly after being in St. George. Okay, you don't want to be running away from your country when you have a situation where people have lost their furniture, their appliances. Um, they lost their apartment.
All
Someone died.
livestock.
Their livestock are gone. Roads
Yeah.
are destroyed. People's vehicles have been destroyed. Your own buses that you brought in here, China Aid buses, were flooded with water. I mean, all of this is stuff that you need to be home taking care of your business, though. But you get on a plane, you fly out of Barbados because it is about, I have to keep looking as the leader of the Caribbean. Okay. And they know, if you talk to any person who is spiritual enough to explain to you where that flooding came from out of nowhere, they will tell you that was a cleansing for Barbados, which means that there's no longer any hole. Mia Motley and the Barbados Labour Party no longer has a spiritual hold on this country, and it's going to keep falling apart with all of these things that you're seeing. Even with the Democratic Labour Party, you see how she's interfering with the Democratic Labour Party to bring her candidates. It's not loyal. There's no demand on people to be loyal, no demand on people to be faithful, no demand on people to be dedicated to a specific cause, no demand on people to, you know, stay the course until we get where we need to be. You can see where her tentacles are out there. And understand this. The final thing I'm going to say: this red also corresponds to China. China is red. China is the dragon. Okay, and unfortunately, we do not understand a lot of spiritual things in Barbados. And when you do try to talk to people about the spiritual component, it upsets them. But I want those who are listening and who have at least a percentage of understanding to know that that flood cleansed Barbados of whatever covenant she made with the Ashanti king and his Sangomas that came into Barbados. And while Barbadians were sleeping, they tried to plant tares among the wheat again, and God decided he will not let it happen. That 7 years is over, and it's over for good. So whatever agreement she had has been broken over the nation, and this is why they're in such of a frenzy right now to make sure that they stay in power.
And Dave gets the other slide
Yeah.
for me.
Well, I'm going to tell you this before I unfortunately have to leave. But I was listening to uh, one of my mentors years ago, who's transitioned from this earth realm, and he says a great leader always builds things and does things to raise the consciousness of their people. He says when you see a great leader, they do things and they build things to raise the consciousness of their people. Show me one thing Mayor Motley has built in the last 7 years
Correct.
that raises the consciousness of the people of Barbados. Show me one thing that the Barbados Labour Party has built in 7 years to raise the consciousness of Barbadians. Show me one thing in 7 years. And if you cannot show me something that you've done or something you have built to raise the consciousness of our people, shut this thought down about being a great leader.